to this story, how this global pandemic has changed our relationship with food, from panic buying.
The food service industry is being hard hit right now.
But there are millions of people out there that work in restaurants that create beauty for us every single day, and they have no safety net.
The tourism and food industry have been severely hit by COVID-19. International tourist numbers could fall between 60 to 80%, and global trade is estimated to fall by 27% this year. The food industry is also suffering with widespread closures due to the reduced number of visitors. This, in turn, has an impact on suppliers as the reduced demand causes prices of agricultural commodities to drop by 20%.
To combat this, we are suggesting an increase in local sourcing. This will ensure that Edinburgh's food tourism industry is economically resilient to any future challenges, while also providing an exciting opportunity to connect with local farmers.
There are several environmental advantages of locally sourcing produce. Shorter, more local supply chains that bypass unnecessary packaging and provide a more transparent service will reduce the amount of waste and plastic use. Buying local food could also reduce the average consumer's greenhouse gas emissions by 4 to 5%. Furthermore, local small-scale farming can be cultivated in a sustainable way by adopting methods such as crop rotation or encouraging insects to promote the health of crops and reduce the use of pesticides.
Food tourism is a crucial player in Edinburgh's tourism as a whole. From a survey from Visit Scotland, 58% of the visitors said they would enjoy a dining experience with locally sourced food. As eTag reported, 70% of potential visitors to Scotland say they would like to sample traditional dishes, regional specialities and fresh local produce, and are willing to pay 3 to 15% more for it. Thus, supporting local sourcing would help sustain Edinburgh's flourishing food tourism sector. Increasing local spending will revive the tourist industry, as most money spent with local businesses typically get re-spent in the local economy, on wages, local suppliers, or many other services. For instance, spending £10 in a local food outlet is actually worth £25 to the local economy, as it gets re-spent locally several times. Not to mention that developing local supply chains will also create more jobs within Scotland for all levels of the economy.
Our proposed solution was created after interviewing local business owners and listening to their needs. Nowadays, many businesses want to source locally, but are limited by their lack of knowledge of Scottish produce, or are deterred by having to communicate and cooperate with a range of new suppliers. That's why we suggest a non-profit business wholesaler that links the food tourism industries with local suppliers in a hassle-free way. It will be essentially a wholesaler that is exclusively locally sourced.
The wholesaler will have a relationship with local suppliers and forward knowledge of the quantities they supply and when, as to estimate an over-demand. Once catering businesses place an order, the wholesaler will then organize the sourcing, storing and delivery of the products, while also covering the administration for the business. While this initiative would receive initial funding from government or an external partner, it would become self-sustainable by the charging of a competitive processing fee.
We see this solution as a sustainable alternative for businesses to use when they see fit, especially aimed for startups and larger businesses that will need those starting connections to support their transition to local produce. It aims to build up contacts and connections with local farmers that businesses were otherwise not aware of, whilst ensuring that local sourcing is made simple and accessible to all business types.
Is that we're, as a nation, not that aware of how much of our food is exported, particularly shellfish and seafood. I mean, it's something ridiculous, like 75% of the langoustine catch is in Scotland, but it's all been exported.
Our recommendation is not for businesses to solely rely on local produce, as we understand not all ingredients can be locally sourced. Instead, we want businesses to increase local sourcing for products that are already available in Scotland, such as seafood. The reality is that this will be a slow transition, allowing for suppliers and businesses alike to adapt to the new demand for Scottish produce.
We envision that by proudly encouraging local food and tourist businesses, tourism will not only indirectly aid the local economy post-COVID-19, but it will also build a closer and more cooperative city.